right, sweet. We are live this time. This is our second go at it. We talked for like 10 minutes about the park before I realized that we did not record it, which is pretty typical for me whenever we do these podcasts. We normally mess up something. We forget like some sort of audio or whatever. But anyhow, we're here at Lake of the Ozarks. I came to see you guys. I noticed about a month ago, you guys began work on Magic Dragon Trail. So it's a shirt that you're wearing. If people want to support what you guys are doing, we do have down on the bottom of the screen a banner where people can go to donate to the project. Ultimately, this is going to be a skills park at the YMCA here at the Lake of the Ozarks. It runs adjacent to the Lake of the Ozarks State Park. You guys are it's going to be a volunteer funded and built project. You begin clearing the land. You want to go over a little bit about what the property looks like and maybe what the goals of that are?
Sure, I'd love to. So as part of our Magic Dragon Trails initiative, our kickoff for that is to create a family-friendly bicycle skills park at the Tri-County YMCA in Osage Beach. It's only about a block off of Osage Beach Parkway, so it's centrally located. The empty lot that is next to the YMCA parking lot is going to be about 200 feet by 220 feet square, with a perimeter trail around the outside edge, and then an inside lap trail inside of that. Along that, we will have bank turns, we'll have wooden skinnies, we'll have wooden A-frames, we may have rock features that people can ride up and down on. And it's mostly going to be geared to young people who are starting to ride their bikes and getting excited about riding their bikes when they're, say, 6, 8, 10 years old. But it is also going to be built to where it's going to be fun for anybody of any age who wants to go out and ride their bike over. To be in a small area, so if a parent is out there watching their child ride, they'll be able to see the child the entire time. There will be tons of parking at the YMCA. Even though it's at the YMCA property, it will be open to the public. The YMCA has been very generous to let us use their property to have this put in. So we really think the community will enjoy this, to have another family-friendly outside physical activity to get people outdoors playing.
Yeah, that's super cool. I drove by there this morning to check it out. The skills park, the YMCA, is located, within a few hundred feet off Highway 54. So one of the main highways that come into the Lake of the Ozarks. So whether you're coming from St. Louis or Kansas City, Jeff City, it's going to be super easy to get to. You don't have to drive a bunch of back lake roads and get turned around trying to find it. So
I know how that is here.
Yeah, and it's a really cool part of 54. They had a new highway that came through 54 back 10 years ago. I mean, you'd be sitting in traffic because there was so many people down there, so much going on. When the new highway came through, it kind of separated off this part of 54, and makes it a little bit quieter. So there's some hotels down there or down here. There's go-kart tracks, all kinds of fun stuff to do with the family. You got Lake of the Ozarks State Park where you can rent boats. There's cabins there, camping sites, all kinds of really cool stuff. And then the YMCA is located kind of, 20 feet off the road, essentially. So really cool. I showed everybody a map of what you've got going on out there. Essentially, that was a professionally designed map that you guys came up with. You're going to try to follow that as close as can be. You've got people to kind of help with building wooden structures, and you've got a really good team assembled down here to take care of the bulk of the work. When I went there, I mean, the field's already cleared. There's big piles of dirt everywhere ready to get moved around. So it looks like you guys have already started. You're well underway. When do you think this project is going to be done where people, when they come down to the lake, can actually ride it?
Well, we're hoping to have something rideable this summer of 2022.
Nice.
And whether the entire thing will be done, right away, or whether we'll get the major parts of it done so you can start riding it, it sort of will depend on the weather. Cool. And in that case, it's almost like you hope for no rain for like 3 months, so that everything, you can just go in there and get at it. Anybody who's watching this who has been a mountain biker or a hiker for long knows that you always need more volunteers. Always need people willing to swing a Pulaski or pick up a shovel. and to groom some rollers or A-frames or whatever
Sure.
that they want to do. So yeah, we always need some volunteers to do.
And this
like
is
that.
really fun kind of building. So it's not, I think a lot of people, when they think about trail building, they're out in the middle of the woods, you're building single track or whatever it may be. This is going to be a unique experience for people to come out and get their hands dirty with, because it's just a big flat piece of ground to work with, and you've got to build the jumps and the banks. And I think it'll be a really cool experience for anybody who comes out and does that. If somebody does want to volunteer, how do they find out? Once we get into spring, you guys will probably start announcing some work days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where would people find that information?
If anyone wants to track our progress, wants to come volunteer, you can always go to our Facebook page, which is Magic Dragon Trails, and just give that a like and follow, and you can track everything. We will probably go ahead and make some events for our trail work days. So I'll go ahead and make the event, put it out there for anyone that wants to come volunteer. If you have any expertise with building or have an expertise that you think would work for us, don't be shy to come on out. And if donating is more up your alley, you can always go to the Community Foundation of the Lake website, pull down that drop down box, and it will have the trail initiative. Just click on that and you can make whatever donation you would like on that site. But yeah, we're looking for as many hands on deck as we can get. So
Cool. So people can jump on Facebook. You did a really cool video that's on your Facebook page. People can kind of scroll through there.
Yeah.
Find that. It shows the property and you riding around to really give a kind of sense of what's going on.
Right.
And then off in the background is the lake itself. So that's the, I think, unique thing. In St. Louis, we've got like Council Bluff, which is about an hour from us.
Right.
It goes around Council Bluff Lake. That's really pretty, but there's not a lot of other trails in St. Louis that you're going to have the kind of nice lake views and stuff like that. So I think it's exciting to see trails start getting developed out here finally, and give people an option of something to do when you're not on the water, or when you've had too much sun one day, to go out and ride the bike, or kind of, break free some of that energy. I know our house is always full of, kids and family members and everything. So if you are busy, it's good to kind of burn some energy off the younger ones at the pump track and give them something to get excited about. I mean, it's really hard for kids to get into cycling or get into mountain biking if they can't be on single track trails, which a lot of times can either be too difficult or too far, and it's just hard to do. With something like this, it gives younger riders and adults an opportunity to get out there and practice.
Yeah.
You guys are, an hour and a half away from Springfield. Branson's not much farther. They've got Holler Bike Park going in down there. Bentonville is just another few hours from that, and then 3 hours from St. Louis and Ironton and all those things. So I think it's just super cool that it's going to give kids here and adults here an opportunity to get on some features, get on some things they're going to see in other places, and then they're going to have the confidence to go and travel.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for me to be here and talk to you guys, because it gives everybody, it's okay, well, now that I know I can do this, now I can go down to Bentonville and have a good time. Now I can go to Two Rivers Mountain Bike Park or Howler.
Right.
So I think it's really cool, and we try to do the same thing in St. Louis. And it's really taken off well. So I'm excited to see that you guys are doing the same thing here, because I've always wanted mountain bike trails down here. So dope.
Well, and I think too here is that I think the skills park is going to be a great kickoff to actually introduce some more of these parents to this type of hobby, because here it does seem to be that not as many kids are on bikes, and a main goal of ours too is to get kids on bikes, get them back to that hobby that was just so great for me as a kid. I mean, some of my best memories have been on bikes. And I think sometimes it can be intimidating for parents, to just throw their kid off on a single track when they've never experienced any of it. So I think this will be great for parents and kids to be able to experience this together on the skills track, see what it's all about. And hopefully we can get more little ones out there, like my son riding. Unfortunately, he's one of the only ones around here that rides. So hopefully we can get a couple more kids out there and loving it.
I think so. At that park, it's nice because it's flat, and I think that was one of the issues we had at our mountain bike park in Eureka was, the hills there just kind of made it really difficult for the children to go up and down. So it is a place where, the obstacles are going to help you build and carry your speed.
Yeah.
Similar to like a pump track. Now, these are going to be all dirt surface trails. You're going to have some wooden features, maybe
Right.
some pavers and rocks, and that's where
Probably,
some of that
yes.
money is going to go to if people do
Right.
donate.
Yeah. And so yeah, we're gonna try to keep it sort of a natural looking thing. We love the beauty of the Ozarks, so we want to use some Ozark rocks in there and some the wooden features that incorporate into with the rocks maybe. And also just for people wondering if it's going to be safe for them to put their younger ones on there, we're planning to have, if there's going to be an A-frame, up and down thing that somebody has to ride, we're usually going to have dirt coming up the sides of it so that if they were to fall off of it, they're not going to have a 2-foot drop where they're going to land and hurt themselves.
Right.
But they can still ride that feature, and there's less of an exposure and less of a consequence if they make a mistake. Yeah,
That's the beauty about mountain biking. I grew up in the city of St. Louis, and we were always on pavement and stuff. So falls there were very bad. And I fractured my skull last year longboarding. I was on pavement. But that's the beauty of like dirt surface trails is there's a lot of room for error there, especially for younger guys. They tend to get caught up and crash a lot, and they're just all committed till they hit the ground, it seems a lot of times. So it's nice that they can fall onto dirt. It's just I think a lot safer that way. So how did you guys get into riding, or how did this all come about as far as doing the skills part?
Well, I started mountain biking in 1998.
Okay.
So clear back on 26-inch wheels, and
Nice.
And no such thing as rear suspensions or anything like that.
And did you grow up here at the Lake
No,
Ozarks?
I grew up by Chillicothe, Missouri, and we had a trail system at Crowder Park in Trenton, Missouri, and we used to put races on up there. And my very first race I ever went there to help volunteer. And if any of the people watching this have ever heard of Steve Tilford, he is in the Mountain Bike Hall of Fame. He came to our race the first couple of years, and I watched Steve Tilford race. One time when I raced, he was riding uphill, I was riding downhill, and he was still going faster than I was. But it got me so excited about riding mountain bikes.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that for over 20 years now. And so I moved down here with my wife after we retired in 2017, and just started getting involved with the community. We're both on the Community Foundation of the Lake board. And we started thinking, what can we do to help our community to have more things, not only for tourism to bring tourists in, but for the people who live here that need something positive to do. Because there's off season here can be a very slow time for people working and for people having anything to do. And all we had to do was we looked at Northwest Arkansas, which is where I would go to ride my bike during the winter. Found out that we have the same climate, we have the same soil, we have the same kind of hills that you can ride all year round. And we thought, this is a perfect thing to put here. We already have the restaurants and the hotels and all the infrastructure for people to come here. A brewery, a couple of breweries, for everyone to come here to have something fun to do. And it just seems like a no-brainer. And we are really studying the things that have happened in Northwest Arkansas when we're looking at what we're wanting to do.
Yeah. And, he rides in our mountain bike group here, which is called Fat Tire Hillbillies. And that's actually how I was introduced to him. And I just started.
Does anybody ride a Fat Tire bike and Fat Tire Hillbillies?
Actually, Bob. And I used to ride Fat Tires. But I started around 3.5, 4 years ago riding because my husband got me into it. And I just fell in love with the sport. And, he brought up the trail ideas. I'm like, yes, we've been thinking about this, since I pretty much started, because like you said, we all have to travel to go to any decent trails in the winter and stuff. And
locally, what trails are there to ride? So if people come, let's say kind of midsummer, later this summer and in the fall, once the skills park is done, what other mountain biking is there in the area? What are the names, or how do people find information on those trails?
We are mainly cross country here. So you're going to have Honey Run that is located on A Road down on Anderson Hollow. And then you also have Four Winds, which is over off of 42 at that state park. And then you also have Bittersweet, which is over on Lake Ozark.
In the Four Seasons
Yeah,
area.
Four Seasons
That one-
area.
That's one I tried.
And a big shout out I really want to do is the Grinder, and that's in Camdenton, and that's owned by one of our mountain bike buddies that rides in our group. His name is Gary Lyons,
It's a
and
coffee
that's
shop?
not
Sorry.
not a coffee shop. I wish.
It's a grinder because you grind uphill sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that trail is one of the trails here, well, the only trail here that has the features and stuff that you're going to find over in, Arkansas and things like that. He's put a lot of hard work into that trail, and it's one of my favorites if you want to go and learn technical. If you wanted to go ride at all while you're down here, I suggest checking that one out.
Is it a private trail he built?
It is, but he is open to anyone going and riding there. If you look at my mountain bike trail, the Grinder, on Facebook, you can find his trail.
Okay.
Shoot him a message, and he would love to have new people there. He loves training, riding with new people, and showing him his trail. So he's put a lot of work into it.
And e-bikes are allowed.
Yes.
Okay. How much
Yes.
trails out there?
5 miles.
Yeah, 5-ish,
Oh,
5
wow.
miles.
And then he's got jumps and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
built
he's
in
got jumps. He's got the wooden features,
there?
the Wookiee, a big wooden roll around
Okay.
that you get up on the side of. I don't know the exact technical.
So, and he'll be helping you guys with the skills park as well, or is he kind of part of you guys
He's
doing it?
actually wanting to do the NICA coaching. So
Cool.
we've been looking into that as well
Nice.
to try to bring biking a little bit more to this area and to kids and students at the schools and stuff. We're checking that out. But he's so busy with his trail, I feel like he doesn't have too much time to come out to
So does he do like
ours.
lessons there? Does he have like bike rentals, or does
He actually has his own bike shop there that he works on anybody's bikes that brings their bikes into him. He can do pretty much any bike you want. And then he actually just kind of taught me for free out of the kindness of his
Nice.
heart. So I thank him forever for that.
so people can look up the Grinder?
Yeah, it's the
Is he on
Grind.
Google Maps and stuff if people want to look it up?
I don't think so.
Just on Facebook?
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll look that up. I'll add
Yeah, we
something
may
in
have
on that.
to get on it and make sure I have the exact name because it's kind of a
Yeah, we'll post something on Facebook and on Instagram that says something about that, because that sounds really awesome. Because that's the
Yeah.
issue is, I guess there's no other bike shop down here right now,
No.
right? Because there used to be one up here in Osage
yeah.
over by the helicopter place. That
Mhm.
guy was awesome, because I remember like 10 years ago, I needed to rent a bike. I was at the time dating a girl and I wanted her to go mountain biking with me. So I was like, oh, we'll rent a bike while we're down there. So his son had, I don't even remember what bike it was, but it was a very nice, the nicest bike I'd ever seen at that point.
Right.
And it was his son's bike. He was like, yeah, you can do this. I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, no problem. I was like, all right. And then it was an awesome experience. But yeah, then I guess that shop's not there anymore. So that would be the kind of main place if someone does have an issue while they're down here, if they need help with their bike. And I think that's a cool thing about the skills park that you guys are doing is it doesn't require you have, a $2,000 full suspension bike, $4,000 bike. The skills park is going to be any bike you have. I mean, you can take out there, and while maybe you can't ride everything, but even if you have like an old hybrid bike or whatever, there's going to be sections out there you can kind of ride off camber
Yeah,
and
and
be
especially
be
just to
weird
get
on.
your feel on it,
Yeah,
at
right
first, and you can put anything on it to start out with at least, and
That's
get your
cool.
And
footing.
we plan on in the skills park around any feature that's going to be elevated like 18 inches or something. We're going to have it cleared off right next to it too, so that a Sally route and a hero route,
Right.
if you want to call them that,
Yeah.
to go around each thing.
So that's
a
nice.
different bike,
So like even like the little guys, if you have like hybrid bike or whatever, if you're not
Right.
into biking
Right.
and you want to take your kids there to ride, then you can just jump on that
Right.
and
Right.
go around with them. That's cool.
Yeah. And in talking about the trails here, the Honey Run Trail was built like 15 years ago, all by
Right.
volunteer, and it's all maintained by
Yes.
volunteers,
Yeah.
even though it's in the state park. It's all volunteer.
Do you
run.
guys have an organized trail building group here, or you guys
No,
kind of
It's
just
just the group that
Get
rides,
together.
Yeah,
gets
just
together,
the
and
Fat Tire
there's trails.
Hillbillies.
that's
And so the Honey Run Trails, there's about 12 miles of it.
Okay.
And it is a fun trail, and it's usually usable all year round, but it's not a destination trail. And so part of what we're doing with the Magic Dragon Trail system is we want to build more cross-country trails that are destinations. So if you're in Kansas City and St. Louis or even Chicago, and you're thinking about coming here and wanting something more to do, that it's a trail that you look forward to doing. The other thing about Honey Run, it's sort of out down gravel roads with small parking areas. So it's a little intimidating for people to come to. And we're wanting to build trails here close to everything. Yeah. So the next phase of what we're doing after we kick this off with building a skills park is we're in the process of getting a master plan drawn up for the Magic Dragon Trail system for our whole community here at the lake. And so in that, we are partway through a master plan that is being done by Progressive Trail Design out of Bentonville, Arkansas. They're one of the premier trail design and trail building companies that exist. And so they've already done part of their study here. They're going to be providing us with some of the results in March. And then we'll go from there to figure out what else can be done. We've been in touch with lots of landowners. We have been having overwhelmingly positive results from people who want to have trails here and are excited about having trails here. Yeah. And so we will soon be entering into a capital campaign to be raising the money to have them professionally built. Volunteer built trails can be great, but there's not enough people to build the number of miles we want to build or to maintain them. So we want to have this professionally designed and professionally built.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing about what you guys are doing here. And it was the same thing we did in St. Louis was, we knew to kind of get the cities on board and to get everybody else kind of pick up that ball and be able to keep rolling with it is we needed to get that skills park done. And our plan originally was to volunteer build it all. Fortunately, the city of Eureka ended up stepping in once they saw the great support we had. And that's why it's important, if people, make the time once you guys have build days to plan a trip down here, go camp at Lake of the Ozarks, grab a hotel, do whatever, bring the kids down, swim and build or whatever it may be. But the importance of kind of donating to this project and making sure it's well funded is that it shows the support that type of thing is going to have in the community. And then the cities or counties or state parks or whoever it may be get to see that and see this, kind of overwhelming excitement about it. And then they start to invest in it as well. Because we originally started with, again, volunteer build. We raised $5,000. That was enough to fly Census Ride Trails in to see us. And then the city of Eureka ended up budgeting in $100,000 for us. And then very quickly that turned into $250,000. And then since then, other kind of projects have spurred off of that, thanks to the help of the people that helped us with that. So, I think it's really cool to kind of grow that. And here at the Lake of the Ozarks, there's so much land and it's just beautiful property and really easy to build trails on. The trees are kind of perfectly spaced out for such things. So it's really beautiful and the views would be awesome. I'm just really excited for it because I've been coming down here since I was a kid. My parents have always had a home down here and their parents did as well. So I was down here every single weekend and, the amount of trails that were here and all the way up until I opened the bike shop. Once I opened the bike shop, I was probably every other weekend once I got out of high school. And then once I opened the bike shop, there was just no time to come down here anymore. I make time during the week like today to come down and see you guys for stuff like this. But there was never enough trails to really justify the bike. Now, especially people coming from St. Louis, if you head out to the Lake of the Ozarks from St. Louis, it's a 3-hour drive. You're going to hit Rolla first, and you're going to be able to ride Forest City on your way out here. Before that, even Steelville just built their mountain bike trail. And then you could even dip down to Springfield, hit Two Rivers Mountain Bike Park if you wanted, before taking another hour drive to get here to the lake. And then hitting the trails. Is anything going to kind of spur off the Y property? Is the skills park kind of all that's being done there? I know like along 54, there's sidewalks that kind of connect all through town to all the restaurants and, the go-kart and all the, kind of fun activities along the main drag. But how are trails going to kind of connect soft trails as far as that goes?
Well, so
does that make sense?
Yeah. So in our vision of what we're wanting to do, we would like to have some sort of a hard surface trail running somewhere from west of the Grand Glaze Bridge up Osage Beach Parkway, somewhere through there so that people can ride bikes, push strollers, strider bikes, things like that to go along Osage Beach Parkway and visit all these putt-putt golf and go-karts and stuff like that. And then we'd also like to have a hard surface trail of some sort going up Route KK on the other side of Highway 54 that maybe would head towards the Margaritaville area and through the Tantera Estates areas. And then there's a road called Three Seasons Road that goes to some of the resorts up on the lake. And we'd like to have a hard surface trail going up there also. Then with, depending on landowners' approval and things like that, to work with them, single track going off of some of those. We would also I mentioned Osage Beach Parkway. It butts up to the state park. We would hope to get permission from the state park to use some part of the area behind Osage Beach Parkway that like the Ozarks State Park has, which also then would hook up to the YMCA Skills Park.
Sure.
So it could all sort of be interconnected.
Cool.
But we're really excited about the ideas of things that can maybe go up along Route KK because there's so many thousands of people who have houses up there and would love to have something else to walking their dogs too. I mean, taking them out to be in the woods.
Yeah, it's huge. And the resorts there too. I mean, I always look at things from like a business standpoint and like how to provide value. And I think that's it just adds another aspect for any of those resorts to have rental bikes there, bikes that are going to be fun on a paved trail, and that's why like we opened a mountain bike shop because I knew all I needed to do was get people out on a bike in the woods once and they were going to be hooked, so that's kind of, I think that's really how mountain biking started in the beginning anyway. I think that's why everybody's always sold bike was just because we want to share that passion for things. So it's cool to see that here. And it's cool to see the Y kind of, jump on board and really began this initiative. And then you guys have had a few bigger donors and stuff like that have really been able to kind of spur the process for. Is there anybody worth kind of mentioning as far as that stuff?
Well, we've had several business owners throughout here and just private individuals who have donated to be what we call legacy masters. Okay. To be one, each person or business gave $5,000. And so we've raised upwards of over $150,000 of people who are just willing to give this much money out of their pockets just to create a master plan, which is so exciting for us because that gives us really great hopes about people coming up to want to donate to the major campaign of it. Like on the emotional side of it, my wife has been coming here. She lived in Iowa and she has been coming here since she was a little girl. And so the whole idea, and I know there's parents and grandparents all over the Midwest who have memories of bringing their kids here and now are bringing their grandkids here. And it's all about having fun as families here. There's all different ways you have fun, but most of it's been on the water. But they're going to be loving the memories they're going to make out on the trails too. Yes. Just like you with your son out on the trails, having fun, sometimes crashing your bike, sometimes making it over whatever you're trying to make or up that hill. And we believe there are people out there who want to have a legacy of something they created for our community, something that they've worked hard all of their lives. They've been successful in what they've done, and they want to put money into continuing the success and the happiness that the families find here at the Lake of the Ozarks. Yes. We really believe that base of people exists and will come forward to help us do that.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We want people to know about what we're doing and get excited about it and be part of it.
I got a phone call from my mom immediately once I shared, once you guys had posted the map for the skills park and we're talking about that. Awesome. We shared it to the bike shop page, which my mom follows religiously. And she called me up. She's like, what are they doing down there? She's like, are you going to move down here now? Because her goal, so we've always had a house on the water, and she wants to retire down here soon. And I think it would be perfect for her if I had an excuse at some point to come down here, but or to be here more often, which would make her happy. Yeah. But yeah, no, it is really awesome. And the Lake of the Ozarks has really seen a resurgence over the last 10 years. And I think, like COVID, when it kind of kicked off in 2020, I was thinking about I was driving around Lake of the Ozarks State Park this morning, and I remembered in St. Louis County, they closed all of our parks. Castlewood State Park, one of our most popular parks in the area, got shut down. And they all got shut down because what people did immediately when everything else stopped, what did people want to go do? They wanted to go outside, go to the park, and enjoy themselves. And it's not a shame that things are turning back on. Obviously it's good that the world's getting back to normal, but I hope people don't lose that need to get outside. And being out on the water is one thing, and that's getting sun on your face and having a good time. But getting to get on a bike and riding trails and being in the woods and doing something maybe you don't always do is a whole nother level of that experience. So, I'm glad to see it coming here. And I think it's really important for people to kind of remember that getting out, like that's what everybody did when everything shut down. Like everybody went to the parks. They had to shut them down because so many people were going. It then became dangerous. So they're like, all right, if everyone's coming here, we have to shut it down. You guys just can't come. So it's cool to see that. So that's definitely in people, and especially here at the lake, in the winter time, it's my favorite time to come down here because it is so quiet and everybody's very relaxed and there's not a ton going on. So to have mountain biking down here, and there are a lot of people fish throughout the winter down here, but I think it's a really cool excuse to get down to the lake and a little bit quieter time of year, and enjoy things. So this fall I'll probably be down here a lot.
Well, awesome. Yeah. And to mention too, these trails are gonna be great for our trail runners, our hikers, the moms that go out every morning and want to get their workouts in. It's going to be multi-use. So everyone's going to have more options throughout the winters and all of that. And then to hit on the mountain biking part, I think it's really good for families as well and kids for skill building. Yeah. I think it provides a whole nother opportunity to face fears and learn new things. I think humans crave the outdoors, and we crave goal setting and learning new skills. So
and I think team sports are maybe a little less prevalent than when a lot of us were growing up. So having an outlet, and even for kids that maybe don't have quite the social skills or don't want all the extra pressure of a whole team, mountain biking is a really good way for those kids to kind of express themselves, compete with themselves. And even as an adult, it's important to do hard things and then struggle with them and then eventually be able to achieve them. So, having a part that can kind of progress skills, being able to go farther, doing better on those trails is all super important, like wins to have in your life that are really important.
You. And I think it's even cooler when you see, parents out with their kids kind of learning the same things and getting over the same hurdles. My son, who is 7, has actually taught me a lot on the bike. And I now have some competition. I've got to keep myself in tip-top shape because he's going to be passing me up before we know it. But it's just so cool to be able to learn with your kids in that way. And it's a whole different bond when you do get to do that. So
and talking about the generations, one thing that happened during COVID and maybe started before is that people in their 20s and 30s, my kids and your age, are finding that they can work anywhere. If they have their laptop, they can come to the lake and have a work-play balance in their life from anywhere. And why not do it here?
Exactly.
Well, and it's funny when we talk about me coming over here to talk to you guys, I was like, well, you have internet, right? Because and everywhere's got internet now. I feel like everybody's got Wi-Fi wherever you go. But like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe it was a little harder to get internet in certain houses and stuff like that. So like that was my frame of reference I was still working with. So I was like,
and we're hoping to have Como expanding even more around here if possible. So because they're doing awesome getting service out to places that really need it, especially in those rural areas. So
at the Skills Park, obviously that's right off highway, so plenty of signal. And even throughout Lake Ozarks State Park, you'll have signal through a good amount of it.
Honey Run you won't.
Actually out on the trail you won't.
And I live right by there now, so now that we've got service there, it's okay, but it's a little spotty in some of those areas. So Honey Run's an amazing trail. That's one of my favorites to just go fast on and train on. But yeah, the service issue, how far you got to drive is just not feasible.
Yeah, well, this won't get, my parents have the Wi-Fi turned off at their house for the winter. So I won't be able to upload
Another
until,
generation.
yeah, because their house
Right.
actually has no signal. Yeah.
Um,
So I took them, like, did the password change? Like, no, we turned it off, for
Right.
I was like, all right. And I was like, I guess that's good. Like, I probably need to, like, just hang out and
It is good to
do other
disconnect
things other than
sometimes,
you.
you know, and kind of free your brain that way.
Before I get back home, though, I'm going to download a bunch of podcasts.
Right.
Like, things to listen to.
You gotta
though.
listen to something.
yeah. And just going back to our origin of it, again, referring to the Community Foundation of the Lake, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So donations that people make through us are tax deductible. So of course that helps on what people are choosing to do with their charitable donations. And so the Magic Dragon Trails were like a subcommittee of the Community Foundation. And so if anyone also wants to just learn about the Community Foundation, it's a great organization that helps people with lots of different needs in Camden, Miller, and Morgan counties. And we've had a lot of great donors to it, a lot of hard work to raise money through the years for different things. And now this is our big thing that we're working on right now.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty impressive the amount of money you guys have raised so far. It's really awesome to show just the support of the community. And these people are I would assume all your donors aren't mountain bikers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's really cool to see people who don't even know how great it can be, that you guys have, the passion and the plan to say to these people who don't even understand how awesome it is yet. Once you guys get the trails there, they'll get to experience it and be like, oh yeah, this was a great bet I made. This is awesome. But yeah, it's cool to see that. And, I think it's important people keep in mind that, these projects do require continued support, and you have to show up. You can't just sit in the background. And, whether it's $5 donation or $20 donation, or if you swing by the Y next time you're down and get one of those awesome shirts, like there's, all kinds of things you can do to help promote things, because, like we saw in St. Louis, it started with Eureka Mountain Bike Park, and then all these other things kind of explode over the area. Kansas City seeing, things like that happen. Obviously, Arkansas did that 15 years ago. But yeah, it's really cool. And, I just love to see it kind of reinvigorate the Lake the Ozarks. I think it's really got that potential, and the more support it gets, the quicker all this stuff happens. And, the faster everybody can kind of move with stuff. So
for people who have been mountain bikers for very long, I would say if you asked me 10 to 15 years ago about mountain biking, I'm not sure, how popular it's going to be, but there have been so many improvements in trail building and bicycle building that it has made it so much more fun and less difficult in some ways, just because, the bikes are lighter and the suspensions, and then you have these fun, flowy trails with optional features on them, which is what we're shooting for, that really make mountain biking a lot more fun, and not just climbing up a hill and going down, climbing up a hill, going downhill. Yeah. And so we want to have a destination set of trails here that'll do those things and make people excited about it.
And kind of, if you had everything your way and everything went smooth and people supported the project and donated and you had the funds to do everything you want to do, how long until you have like your master plan, your dream completed, would you say?
Oh man.
Honestly, we've already been working on this for 2 years. And so, if 5 years from now we had, 70 miles of trails or something, of single track trails, and, 15 miles of hard surface trails, that would be really exciting. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so we understand that things like this take time, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and a step back, but, getting everybody to come together into it, that's what I believe is going to happen.
At the state parks, there's a guy, that helps kind of run things. We call him Mountain Bike Mike. I don't remember his actual last name, but yeah, you just gotta get enough trails to get him here to where, he can come from Jeff City and, so has good excuse to bring his bike so we can get some more.
Well, that might be
trails
Mike
in the state
Sutherland.
park. Yeah,
He
Mike
was
Sutherland.
the director of state parks. He's been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came to our first meeting.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
And that's a cool thing. Like Missouri state parks, like we're so lucky here. And if you go out to Colorado or out west or a lot of different states, you have to pay to get into the parks. All our state parks are free to visit.
Mhm.
There's a picnic. You could set up a picnic and barbecue and do whatever you want at no cost. And of course, you can rent, campgrounds and cabins and things along those lines. But yeah, we're really lucky here in Missouri to have an awesome set of state parks with the amenities they have. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I think for mountain bikers, a lot of times, I know like I'm not a kind of person that, wants to go to, a packed place always. I like to have lunch or dinner like on the water. That's always nice. But so like for people coming down looking at Lake Ozarks State Park for camping and using the amenities there, and then having the trails nearby is a good plan of action if someone's looking to come here and visit.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are passing through now. I mean, we get people from Iowa, people from Wisconsin, people from Chicago. These people kind of pass through these areas to get to Texas or to get down to Arkansas to ride their mountain bikes. I know like we advertise a lot in Chicago for that very reason. And St. Louis has always been, or Lake Ozarks has always been, the vacation spot for anybody from St. Louis. I think Kansas City is the same way. Obviously Jeff City would have to be, except for maybe it's not a vacation destination since they're so close. It's just kind of like their backyard, but
kind of the fun weekend destination.
Or day even, which is nice. But
yeah, because if you're in Kansas City, you can't ride trails unless they're solidly frozen. You can't ride them really from December through February very easily because there's too much black dirt, and you're going to tear up the trails.
Right.
And any mountain biker knows that you don't want to tear up your trails. And so, but down here, the trails are very durable, even if they're somewhat wet. And that's what makes it a year-round destination.
And I think what's cool about the Lake Ozarks and I always grew up here and it was, riding around on the boat and stuff and seeing all these big, huge mansions popping up. And it always kind of gave me hope, like, what do all these people do? How is all this possible? So it kind of started off my ability to kind of dream big. Mm-hmm. And then that's why we were able to kind of look at the bike park and have that done. I think you guys are dreaming big here too. And the Lake Ozarks is a place where it's possible to do that, which is, I think, what the coolest, why I was so excited when I seen the skills park came up, because I was like, oh, like this is going to be amazing. Like the potential here at the Lake Ozarks is so high. Mm-hmm. And the Lake Ozarks, I think when a place like Kansas City, not to be too controversial, but Kansas City, you can have some sticklers as far as what's allowed on trails and things like that. St. Louis County can kind of sometimes run into that added extra regulation. The Lake Ozarks is still a very Missouri town.
Very independent minded.
Yeah. Yes. So, I think the potential here is really cool, or like when you talk about the grinder trails or something like that, that just goes to show kind of that mindset and that what people are looking to do. And that, I think a lot of the motivation down here is that people seem to really care about each other. So, they'll do something, whether it's land easements or whatever you need. I think it's more apt to happen here with like the Ozarks than, we see these battles get fought in like Franklin County and, in St. Louis, where they run into a lot of hurdles with landowners from, past railroad deals or whatever it may be.
Right.
But, the Lake Ozarks, I think everybody's kind of looking to kind of push things and better their community and give everybody something fun to do. So I think it's super cool. I'm really excited. I think we're about 45 minutes, so we're pretty close to everything on there. I may try to look and find, before I jump everybody off of here, your video.
I'm sorry.
And I'll play that. But yeah, is there anything else you guys wanted to add? They can go to the link to donate. They need to follow Magic Dragon Trails to stay up to date on build days, things along those lines. Is there anything else that's important?
I can't think of anything necessarily.
It's just if any of you see a face on me, I've been looking at my kid here and there. So.
I'm trying to find the first.
That mom face.
Yeah, the mom face of, hey. Hey.
I'm trying to find
You
the
need a bathroom.
food.
Food?
Oh, and I was going to.
And we're still live, just so you know, just so you don't say. I mean, you're fine to do whatever. I'm just exploring your Facebook page and all.
Oh, and then I was going to mention the Grinder page is called The Grinder period, and then My Mountain Bike Trail. So if you wanted to look that up.
Gary's permission to put that on the podcast before he does that, or
It's all the way at the end. No one's listening in this part. It's just us at this time.
Right.
There's like 4 guys that I know that'll still be listening now because they just play it, and so like they'll make mention that they're like, I was actually listening when you guys said I wasn't listening. But most people tuned out after like, if we did really well today, they listened for like 20 minutes. That's if we did really well. That would be pretty incredible.
Okay.
So it's too late to talk. I was going to say, we should have said this in the beginning. Everybody listen and prove a point to us.
I know. Yeah. Well, and I think he would definitely love it because he's looking to get more business with the mountain bike shop. Plus, his trail's just like probably the best one for features here. And that,
Only one.
the only one. And that's the one that really drove me actually to end up in Arkansas a lot of weekends and be riding those primo trails that are just magnificent. So
yeah, he's done them.
How long ago did you post that first video? Was it like back in like November or something last year? Just trying to make sure I didn't go too far back. I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, here it is. I found it.
Did you find it? Okay. Hello, Lake of the Ozarks. We're here at the Tri-County YMCA with the Community Foundation of the Lake, and we're pleased to say that the YMCA is going to partner with the Community Foundation of the Lake in order to bring us our first biking skills park here on their property. It's going to be a great addition for our community, especially youth, all the way from little kids all the way up to adults that will be able to use this with no membership required. It's totally open to the public. We're hoping to have this completed in November, and we will update the community on the date that it will be completed.
Get our money donations until
Magic
November.
Dragon Trail system as well that we are hoping to get under construction very soon in the future. We are a nonprofit foundation.
What did you put November
If you'd like to
2022?
visit our website,
Exactly,
we'll
that's
have
what I
a
was
link
thinking.
to
That's what
to donate or be a part of this amazing opportunity for the lake and would like to volunteer, please go to our website and leave a donation or hit us up there.
Sweet. All right. I'm going to end